This is Ruben Jadilia, aka Manny Mars, aka the Pinoy Prince, aka the mother effin man, the Comptonmania champion, the champion of not one, not two, but three belts. And this place is hosted by Zero Belts, Rex Sampaga, and Fake Belts, Ed Malilin. And they had the pleasure of hosting me, Manny, the mother effing man, Mars. And this is Rise and Shine with FilAm Creative.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's time for another edition of Rise and Shine. So without further ado, here they are. It's Ed and Rex and Roni.
Woohoo! Good morning, good morning, good morning. Woohoo! Rise and Shine, everybody. Welcome to what did you call this earlier, Ed? It's time to eat your feeling season. It's time to eat your comfort.
You're right. You know, we're fresh off Halloween, Ronnie, and Thanksgiving's coming up, and Thanksgiving is kind of like you know how since we're talking about wrestling today, the Royal Rumble is like the kickoff season for WrestleMania. Thanksgiving is the kickoff season for a lot of eating.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Oh yeah.
And guys, the very day that we stand upon, and when I say stand, I mean virtually stand upon in the YouTube world right now, National Fast Food Day. Now, I don't know if you guys correlate the holidays with fast food, but I do. You know why? Because when you're on your way to Thanksgiving at like auntie's house or whomever, sometimes it's far. You have to drive. And I'm the type of person that okay, if I gotta, because I'm from the Bay, and if we got a road trip up to the Bay, we are stopping to get fast food. I don't care if it's the morning of Thanksgiving and auntie is already cooking. We got to drive through somewhere. So for me, National Fast Food Day today, super relevant for the holidays, because when you're on the go, you got to go.
I am so glad you brought that up, Ronnie, because my cousin Shauna, who is your tag team partner, you're our number one fan, your tag team partner for our episode next month, by the way, coming up, the rematch, the Cobra Kai rematch. But when we go somewhere, we'll be going for lunch or dinner, and it'll be in 2-3 hours, and it's the same thing. We have to go through a drive-through because it's still 2 hours away. We got to eat.
Tell me you guys don't do that. Tell me you guys haven't had to drive to Lola's house, uncle's house, and been we could get a breakfast sandwich. We got 2 hours.
Maybe instead of National Fast Food Day, should just be called National Tide You Over Day or something.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Since it is National Fast Food Day, maybe we should put each other on the spot here. I'm just calling it out here. I'm gonna pull a shoot. So what is everyone's favorite fast food?
Oh, go Ronnie. I got to think about this one.
So I'm a classic California girl. I do love In-N-Out. I want to say it's the most consistent for me. It's nostalgic. It's available up and down California, which I am traveling frequently.
And how do you get your burger?
I was gonna say my In-N-Out order is like a Starbucks order. Okay,
I'll do it.
My usual order when it's full meal status. It is a double meal with grilled onions, extra toast on the bun, no lettuce.
Wow.
With animal fries.
Whoa.
And depending on my feeling, I either get a pink lemonade or a root beer to drink. Yeah.
I think I'm almost totally like you, except that I get the Neapolitan shake. That's the only difference. So.
Yeah, Neapolitan shake is when it's that time of the night. Y'all know.
So you kind of delve into the secret menu then. It sounds like you do.
I grew up in California. I know the secret menu.
Absolutely. How about you, Rex? What's your
In-N-Out is very classic. And so if I do that, I do a double, grilled onions, animal style.
So that is also your favorite fast food? Or just
I would think so because
wow, okay.
because with In-N-Out, it's open late every night. It closes past 1 a.m. in the morning.
So
And
convenient.
it's so convenient. I get my fries light well. Yes, you can
We
ask
got a
them.
fry doneness.
Yes, you get a fried dough. You could ask for light well. Light well's like crispy. And drink of choice, I would either do a vanilla shake or regular iced tea.
Awesome. Well, I
You got
feel like I'm
spectrum
gonna
here.
ruin In-N-Out is actually my number 2. It's my number 2.
Ooh,
And
hot
with that
take.
in mind, I do get the double animal just like everybody here. The only difference is I get the you can order the full circle. What is it like? They'll keep the grilled onion circular.
Oh, whole
They'll just-
fried
Oh,
onions.
whole
That's it,
fried
whole
onion.
fried onion.
Yes.
You can request that. And I remember one time I went and they said, "So do you want the whole fried onion and the grilled onions?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do that too."
Yes, please.
Shut up. You can do that?
They're so cool. Yeah. But
I just
that's
found my
actually-
new regular order.
Yeah, it's really cool. But that's actually my number 2. My number 1, which is it's kind of like a throwback because I lived in New Orleans, is the red beans and rice from Popeyes.
Okay.
I
The
love
red beans and rice from Popeyes is legit.
Yeah.
It is so legit. The first
Yeah.
time I had it, I was like, what is this?
Just so you know, the old owner of Popeyes, his name is Al Copeland. He used to have a restaurant, kind of like, it was called Copeland's. It's kind of like a TGI Fridays or a Chili's.
Oh yeah, fast
And they-
casual. Yeah.
Yeah, fast casual. And they sold red beans and rice, and it was like, $16. And then everybody found out that it was the same recipe that Popeyes used. So that like just totally validated the red beans and rice at Popeyes, because it was like, oh, this is like highfalutin red beans and rice, and it's at a fast food place. So, but In-N-Out is having lived here, I can't. Either one of those, I can't go wrong. So,
The thing I love about In-N-Out, it's family owned. They don't.
Yep.
When they franchise, they pick very selectively. It's only on the West Coast.
in
It's
Texas
no.
now too.
Oh well, they got one in. Oh, that's right. I saw the
They got
report
the
on
one.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
Took
have
them-
that one.
Was that by
Yeah,
San
Dallas.
Antonio? Was
No,
that by
it's
San Antonio?
there's a bunch in Dallas. There's like 4.
Oh,
in
okay.
Dallas. So my friends back there, you can have In-N-Out, not your Whataburger. I said it. Uh-oh. We better edit that out.
Yeah, it's just one of those wonderful chains that it's just not fair. It's just not everywhere. You can just go get it, So it's just beautiful. It's a West Coast thing.
Amen.
West Coast.
Amen.
You can tell where we're coming from. Well, I'm excited. Speaking of the West Coast and speaking of traveling about, Ed, I really like your shirt. It's in full view right now.
I got this shirt, and it's so funny you said that, Ronnie, because I got this shirt when I was with you. You were purchasing some I probably shouldn't say what it is, but
some snacks.
I was at a different booth.
I think some
You were-
snacks.
yes,
Yeah.
you were in the
Some
so Ronnie
snacks.
was in the snacks booth,
Yes.
and
Specialty snacks.
Rex was sorry that he wasn't with us, although he did join us later that night. But she was in the snacks booth, so I went to get this shirt, and we're going to talk a little bit more about these guys in a few minutes. But yeah, love this shirt. Happy to support these guys. They put on a great show. We're about to meet their champion. This is so cool.
Just to dive in, because the champion. Yes, we are having a wrestling themed show today, guys. But it's here. I just want to know, because I feel like I'm going to be like a third party here. Now we have a spectrum of fans between the two of you guys. We have Rex, who's a casual viewer, and when I mean casual, I mean who The Rock is. So on a scale of I know who The
John
Rock
Cena.
is,
John
and
Cena.
I know who John Cena is, to the other end of the spectrum where we have Ed, who is when wrestlers have groupies, they're called ring rats, and Ed is right there. No, I think
Can I call you the Fanalo of wrestling then?
Wow.
The Barry Manilow Fanilo.
Wow.
I was gonna say like Barry Manilow.
Yes, that's what they call their fans, is Fanilos.
I was like, is this a sports reference? It sounds like Barry Manilow.
It's Fanilo. Yeah.
We've gone from wrestling to Barry Manilow. Wow.
In and Out Wrestling, Barry Manilow. All of that today on Rise and Shine. Here we go.
Gotta
That's
make a
right.
note of that for hashtags here. Yeah.
That's right.
You know, and the thing is, Ron, I'm glad you said all those things because, you know, as our viewers know, or if you didn't know, I'm going to tell you now, spoiler alert, there's another wrestling thing. Spoiler alert. We are going to be out for the next 2 weeks. So this is your last episode until December. So the good news is that you've got a lot of chances to eat the red beans and rice from Popeyes, to eat your leftovers from Lula and your auntie. You've got a lot of chances to go to In-N-Out and get your double and try the whole grilled onion. You've got a lot of chances to rewatch this episode because we got some really good content for this episode. So it's a kind of a good time for us to take a 2-week vacation because we're going to spend time with our families. Rex and Ronnie and I are sick of each other, and we need a little bit of a break. So yeah. So we hope that you'll enjoy rewatching this episode for about 2 weeks. So
have fun. Just if you just break it down by the fast food, the Barry Manilow reference, and then the wrestling.
You can
That's
listen
like 3
to
episodes
Barry
in
Manilow's
total.
catalog. I think that's what Rex is going to be doing.
Rex has to go spend Thanksgiving with Barry Manilow. That's an associate.
Yes, I'm
not
going.
jealous.
I will be going to Copacabana.
Oh goodness, it never ends.
Oh my God. So without further ado, I'll leave you guys to it.
All right, thank
Have
you,
fun,
Ronnie.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you so much, Ronnie Canyeso, the excellent, fantastic, awesome heavyweight champion of FilAm Creative, the executive director. And if you want to learn more about what she does, check us out on www.filamcreative.org. We appreciate that. If you like what we're doing here, help us buy some doubles by giving a few quid to @FilAm Creative on Venmo. And no, I'm kidding. We will not spend the money on doubles. We will spend the money to continue to buy equipment and other good things to put on great programming like this and our panels and all that good stuff. Rex, what do you think? Can I bring out our guest now?
Let's bring out our guest. I mean, again, this is a first
Mm-hmm.
in the Rise and Shine history. So I'm super excited. I mean, we're actually bringing on a champion.
We are bringing on a champion. So and you know, I remember I think long ago we used to alternate introducing the guests.
Right.
No. There was one weekend where Rex was like, I'm gonna let you introduce the guest, and like I didn't have my notes in front of me. So like and then it became this joke. So then I just started introducing our guests. Well, today I'm like super excited because and I have to read all the titles because I'm so into this that I'm like blanking out here. So our guest is a 3-belt. He's Manny 3-belt. So Becky 2-belt, big time Bex, whatever. We have Manny 3-belt today. Listen to this. He is the Central Valley champion of CWA. He is the wild card champion of WCWC. And I watched this guy. In fact, I think Jeremiah is going to let it roll right about now. I watched this guy at the anniversary show at Comptonmania win the MFM championship. He is the MFM champion of the world. That makes him Manny 3-belt. Now, here's the thing, though. I have to say this. You don't have this belt, okay? He doesn't have this belt. He has not stepped in to the ring with me in a Steel Tsinelas match yet. But one day he will. One day he will. So we're excited to bring him out today. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Manny 3-belt. Ladies and gentlemen, indie wrestler sensation, Manny Mars. Oh my goodness, here he is, Manny 3-belt. Welcome to Rise and Shine.
Right. I just adjust myself and see all the glory behind me and that I'm wearing.
I hope that belt's not wearing your shoulder down, man, because it's so damn heavy.
Oh, I know, it's so heavy, man.
This is
I'm a little
awesome.
sore here now.
It is awesome. I'm so excited to interview you. I know Rex is too. You know, and we're gonna break kayfabe. Oh God, we're gonna throw out all these.
No, just throw it all,
thing. You know, as a lot of our FilAm creative friends know, of course, Manny Mars is a good friend of ours, but we were so excited a couple of weeks ago to go watch him win this championship. I know that right about now, Jeremiah is putting more footage from that great match where he won the title at Comptonmania's anniversary show. We want to give a special thank out to our friends at Comptonmania for letting us cover that event. And we're so happy to share that footage here on today's episode of Rise and Shine. But Manny Mars, first question, got to throw it out. What does it feel like to be on top of the world with 3 belts? I mean, I'm giving you kind of a softball, easy question here, but at the same time, we want to know, like, what's it like to hold 3 titles?
Dude, it's like, I don't even know if that's a softball question, because I'm when I heard like consecutively from like several people, like, okay, so, because usually how it works is the promoter, the owner of these companies, they just tell you, okay, so you're gonna have this match, and then you come in the day, or sometimes they tell you like just through Messenger, like, oh hey, yeah, we're gonna put the belt on you. I was like, okay, cool. And then hearing like a month later, like, oh yeah, we're gonna put the belt on you. I'm like, well, I'm gonna have 3 belts at the end of all this. It felt good. I tried. I was like, all right, stay humble, because that's what they teach you. You know, just like, okay, so it's no big deal. But no, it feels really nice. It's really just like a big sense of like recognition within my community that I've, you know, I like to say, and I've learned this, like, you know, you're the champion, but it also means like you're the champion of showing up. You know, like the promotion, they trust you. They think that you're a good representation of the company. So, you know, it feels really cool to feel recognized.
Oh, hey, I know what you're doing. You're sitting there liking what we're doing over here. So do me a favor, hit that like button, add a comment. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you feel. What are you waiting for? Do it now.
So maybe to get a little background for our fans, for wrestling fans who might not be as familiar with your work, can you take a few minutes to just talk about how you got started, how long you've been wrestling, like what got you into the wrestling industry?
Yes. So it's funny. So I was working my customer service like tech job in Palo Alto, right? Like I just got it. Like I got hired. I was like a weekend, and I remember coming into work one day, and I was just thinking to myself, like, dang, is this like how it's just gonna be, you know? And then I was just like, I need to do something interesting, right? I need to get into something. And I thought to myself, like, okay, what can I get into? I was like, what's something I really like? I like wrestling, right? I like wrestling. Oh, but I don't see anyone who looks like me in pro wrestling. So I'm just like, screw it. Let me just give it a shot. I'll get as far as I can go in wrestling. And I'm just going to start. You know, I remember listening to all the podcasts, the interviews of like how pro wrestling training is. And like, you know, yeah, you're going to throw up every single day of like training. You can get hurt. Someone's going to break your arm on purpose. And I'm just like, okay, this sounds crazy, but I want to kind of dive in. So I showed up to training. I showed up to like this training camp called Gold Rush. I started out there, and I showed up day after day, just, you know, they're just kicking my butt like all day, like for like 3 to 5 times a week. And then I just stick it out, man. I just like stick it out. There's people like dropping like flies like left and right and leaving and quitting. And then I was just like, let me just keep going. Let me just keep going. And then, you know, I finally debuted around, what is it? November of 2014 is when I had my very first match. And prior to this, I did a little bit of like refereeing just to kind of get myself, you know, familiarize myself, you know, with the ring and how the show works and things like that. And then so I debuted, November 2014. So that makes what, like 6. Wow, actually, I think it's my anniversary.
Happy 7
Yeah,
years.
Right now.
7th anniversary, 7 years already.
Yeah, seriously, it's like my 7-year anniversary. crazy. Just think of that.
7 years, 3 belts.
Yeah, I feel like a they call them the greenies. I feel like a greenie, you know, like a rookie still, like in wrestling. But I'm just like, no way, I've been doing this for like 7 years. Okay. But yeah, man, that's essentially how I got bored of my job and I just kept sticking it out. And I found out like how much I actually do love wrestling, like one as a fan and then now as a wrestler. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's that old adage, you know, perseverance does pay off. And if you just show up, you know, that some, you know, today's age, maybe that's enough. And
Right.
just showing up and being perseverant. I mean, you got 3 belts to show for it. And tell our fans though, where you got the name from. And also like, who are your biggest wrestling influences while growing up and how you got those influences and putting it into your own persona.
It's pretty good. Okay, so the name. So as you all hear, it's Manny Mars. So the way this happened was, I remember I was like,
not related to Bruno, by the way, not related to Bruno.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Never
Maybe that's my cousin. What are you talking about now?
Right.
That could be your cousin.
Came from Adam and Eve.
Yeah. No, but I think I was refereeing. It was like my second referee like job or whatever, right? And then before that, I was just going by my like actual name. I was going by Ruben Jadillian. I was like, I want like a name too, you know, a name. So I was sitting at the diner with a bunch of my training buddies, and we're going to the show. And I was just like, you guys think I should have a name? They're like, yeah, you should have a name. You should have a name. I'm like, okay, let me think. And I'm just sitting there, like, kind of racking my brain. I'm like, who are 2 really famous Filipinos right now, right? And this was like in 2014. I was like, okay, Manny Pacquiao and Bruno Mars. And then they were like, oh, okay, so like, are you gonna be like Bruno Pacquiao? So I was like, no, I'm gonna be Manny Mars. And it just stuck, you know. I was just like, everyone, you know, I was like, oh yeah, that should be it. It made total sense. So that's how I got that name. And then like as far as like wrestlers that influenced me, I always say, so Stone Cold Steve Austin, like in the attitude era of like WWF, he's the one who like got me started to watch wrestling, right? And then Jeff Hardy, who's part of the Hardy Boys, if you all remember, he's the one who wanted me to try to just like attempt these like crazy things that he did. You know, he used to like do dives like on top of cages, on like top of like high areas, going through tables and all that, taking these crazy like kind of bumps. And he's the one who made me want to like try backyard wrestling. So it's funny. This all started with like me and a few of my friends. Just like, I remember a couple of my friends, they invited me. It's just in high school.
Yeah.
They're like, hey Ruben, do you want to go to the park over here? Me and Brian, we're gonna go wrestle at this park. Like, I'm like, wrestle? What the heck are you talking about? Like, oh, we have like, this was before like iPhones, right? And they had like this. They happened to have like a phone that like recorded video, and at the time we were like, oh, that's so cool. So we used that phone to like record ourselves at the park, like fake wrestling, just pretty much backyard wrestling.
Wow.
You know? And then at that point, you know, I guess that was my first like, you know, that was the first time I got physical, like trying to wrestle. And we would try to choreograph, like, okay, I do this, then you do that. And it was ridiculous because we're just like, all our moves, you know, it didn't make sense in the psychology of wrestling that I understand today. At the time that we were like wrestling at the backyard, we were just doing finishing moves to each other. So it was just like
some spots,
like yeah, like these crazy spots to each other. So Jeff Hardy got me into doing that. I remember we even recorded like, there's like backyard footage of me coming out to Jeff Hardy's song at the time. And that was like my entrance. It's humble beginnings. There's humble beginnings.
Now, did you ever try a swanton bomb?
You know, I was too scared. I was like, because I was like on top, I would be on top of like the playground structure, right? We're at like some like elementary school, like structure, you know, those like with the slides and all that. And then I'm up there and I'm like, I don't want to jump down. You know, I was like, this is a little too high up and this would be dumb if I hurt myself. And then
Oh
I
my gosh.
have to explain to like the hospital why I'm here.
Oh my gosh.
I don't.
It's funny you brought up the name because actually how Bruno Mars's name came about. You see now, I love how this is full circle here. His dad, Bruno's dad, nicknamed him Bruno. Why? Because it was nicknamed after Bruno San Martino.
Yes, I just learned about this too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Also.
because when Peter, that's his real name, when Peter was growing up, he was a little stocky. So that's why his dad nicknamed him Bruno. So yeah, so there come full circle, man. The whole wrestling
That's
kind of
so
connection there, which is actually very cool.
I think it's really cool when you kind of like pay homage to like each other. Like,
Of course.
because it's funny. My one of my best friend, he is also into wrestling now because I got him into wrestling. You know, I'm really proud of him because he like stuck it out just like I did. You know, and he kind of paid homage to me, right? His name's Caesar, and he's one of the guys who I backyard wrestled with back in high school, right? So it's a crazy thing to think that we're actually like doing this like more professionally. And he goes by the name Bruno Beretta. So like, because he was like, I want to pay, pay homage to you because you got me into wrestling, and you name yourself after Bruno Mars, so I'm gonna be Bruno Beretta. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, man. So it was really cool to hear him say that.
That's awesome.
Are you following us on socials? What? You're not? How dare you? I mean, you totally should. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We even have a mailing list. We're at Rise and Shine FAC. That's Rise and Shine FAC. Or click like here. It'll take you right there. You don't gotta do nothing else. So what are you waiting for? Like us, follow us, subscribe. See you there.
Obviously, I'm sure that we have a lot of viewers watching this episode who are wrestling fans. And so maybe if we could talk about just like things that happen before a match, after a match. We're kind of in a different world now. I mean, Vince McMahon, a lot of fans love him, a lot of fans hate him.
Sure.
But he has kind of made it acceptable to talk about the fact that wrestling matches have planned finishes. Not sometimes people don't want to use the word fake, but they'll just say that it's choreographed. The matches are predetermined.
Yeah.
Talk about what kind of a dialogue do you have before a match starts? What kind of, do you talk to your opponent and say, okay, this is what we're going to do? Do you call the match in the ring? What do you do before a match? To talk to our fans a little bit about that. Like talk about your title win, for example. Maybe we could use that as a reference point since you're holding that belt right now.
Oh, yeah. So it typically goes, because some people think like, oh, you must plan this like weeks or like days in advance. I'm like, no, we figure this out like 2 hours before the show starts, like we, the promoter, he has us like in a big group chat, and they tell us like, oh, hey, okay, this is what time everyone should, it's totally organized. This is what time you should get to the venue. And then you get to the venue, you see if like your opponent, if the person you're working with is there. Who knows, sometimes they're late, sometimes sometimes they're late, and that becomes another issue. But in this case, let's use the Comptonmania show as an example. So I got there 2 hours before the show, as I usually do. I see my opponent is there, right? And I see a lot of other.
Who was your opponent for this match?
And my opponent is Rancho Camacho.
Rancho Camacho.
I love these names, man. I love these names.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. Yeah,
everyone loves him. He's a really good wrestler. Yeah,
seriously. So I get there, I see him, but I also see everybody else. So before the show, you got to make sure it's a tradition. You go around and you shake everybody's hand, like everybody. You shake the hand of the promoter. You shake the hand of the people setting up the ring. You shake the hand of like the other wrestlers who you aren't working. And even like the venue, the staff, just to introduce yourself, right? In wrestling, it's a sign of respect, and we like it's a tradition that's been held up for a really, really long time. So even though I see my opponent, we don't talk about me and Camacho. We don't talk about the match right away. I see him. I'm like, hey man, let me just go say what's up to everybody else first, and then it. As it starts getting a little closer, and then we start feeling it out, we're usually there hanging out for a little bit. we kind of like come together and we're like, all right, man, you want to like call this thing? Yeah, let's call this thing. You know, we want to make sure we start calling them before doors open and fans get to their seats. That way we can like kind of use the ring if we need to, right? And in this case, you know, we did have to use we did go into the ring, and then we talked about like, okay, hey, so how do you want to start? How do you want to finish? And a lot of people have their own methods of like how they want to, we call it like calling a match, how you want to call a match. For me, the way I like to call a match is I like to work backwards, right? So I want to know how I want to finish the match and then work my way back from there, right? It's like I had a trainer that said something like, let me see if I can remember what his quote was. My trainer said, you know, when you plug your destination on the GPS, right? Like, how do you know where you're going if you don't know how you're getting there? You know, it's something like that, right? But you know, so we want to make sure this thing makes sense, you know, and just like with film, with shows, there's kind of a 3-act structure to wrestling. So we're all working off that, you know, like, hey, okay, the first part is how do we establish who's a good guy, who's a bad guy? In this case, I'm a bad guy, right? So how do we establish who's the bad guy and the good guy? And then and then the next thing is we need the good guy to look good. So we call that the shine. The good guy does a bunch of moves on the bad guy, or it's a heel and face for like insider terms, right? A heel is a bad guy, a face is a good guy. And then how is the bad guy gonna cut off the good guy? You know, add drama, and it kind of goes on like this. It kind of starts going kind of like up and down, and you know, we make sure the crowd, and it usually works. You know, the crowd gets into it. They know when to boo. You know, as long as both parties are doing their job. You know what I mean? So Rancho and I, we call this match, and he tells me, you know, it's funny because you get different types of people too. So there's some folks who are like, yeah, I don't want to do too much today, or you know, I'm not really feeling well, so let's just take it a little easy today, you know. And I'm just like, okay, man, all right, we'll take it easy. But Rancho is the type of guy to be like, let's do everything. I want to do everything. I want to do all the dangerous moves, and I'm just like, I know he's not a dangerous person to work with at all. Like, he's actually really, really safe, and that's like the number one priority in wrestling is, hey, you know, you have you're essentially taking charge of someone's like someone's body, someone's life. So you got to make sure like, hey, if I throw my body at you, I need to make sure you're going to catch it, you know. So there's a lot of trust there. And Rancho's, you know, he's a great worker. He's very safe and he's very talented. And you know, he wanted to do a lot of like cool, like flashy stuff. And you know what, we got to hit a lot of that during the match. And so, you know, we go ahead, we call the match, and then we, as the show goes on, we just kind of repeat it to each other, you know, like constantly repeating it to each other. And then after that, you know, we're kind of in each other's, you know, we kind of go off on our separate ways, and we're just calling it to ourselves and just trying to remember this thing before the show starts. So this is when we all start getting nervous, you know, and then eventually it's, you know, it's like the promoter's like, okay, you guys are up next, and then music hits, and then the match starts.
Hey, don't forget that new episodes drop every Tuesday on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you download your favorite podcast. So don't forget to subscribe to us so you don't miss a single episode.
I mean, I'm hearing a lot of things in there, because it's the reason why we have you on, because I am looking at, you know, I after seeing your belts and after hanging out with you guys and everything, I'd look at wrestling now. I mean, yes, Ronnie's right. I'm a casual viewer, but I also know that wrestling entertains people. And you guys are entertainers. You guys are storytellers. You guys play characters. So it's like, you guys are entertaining. You guys are taking on a persona and a character, bad, good, right?
Yeah.
But also, when you're describing how you guys do the match, you guys are choreographers, because you're calling each other moves. you guys are kind of like jazz musicians, because in some ways you might have to improv along the way. You don't know what's going to happen, you know?
Right.
And I think that's what makes the audience engaged.
Right. And yeah, that's kind of the fun part too, is, we do choreograph the match, but we leave, and again, this depends on what kind of worker you are, but I like to leave gaps in the match where we have room to improv.
Right.
Because maybe we choreograph something and the fans aren't really getting into it. Okay, how, and how do we get the fans get back into it that we only know within that moment, right? So there are moments in the ring where we're like, hey, okay, the fans aren't really cheering, they're not really booing,
they're not reacting. Yeah.
Start talking. We'll talk to it. I'll have somebody in a headlock, right? And I'll be like, okay, guy, start getting up, hit me a few times, hit the ropes, hit me with this big move, and he's like, okay, and then we'll go about that sequence. And I think that's kind of like the beauty in wrestling too, is like the improv of it as well. And
you had there was some funny improv during your match, because as we're going to see right now, you guys brawled outside of the ring. These two little boys started hitting you, and then it was funny, like I think I mentioned this to you afterwards at dinner. The ref had caught the ear of a kid who wanted to hit you, and you two had already gone back into the ring. And when these two boys on the other side had started hitting you, then you guys came over to our side. And by the way, thank you for brawling like right in front of us, like literally getting us wet and everything. But
that was a whole thing, man. Oh my god, you want me to tell that
thing? And, oh please, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So there was a couple spots where we fought outside of the ring, right? So the first spot was, okay, hey, Camacho to me, hey Manny, okay, I'm gonna throw you out, and then I'm gonna dive onto you outside the ring. I'm like, okay, cool, dive on outside, and then the only thing we called, and this is where I like the gap for improv, right? Is okay, you dive onto me, and then we'll just do stuff. That's really like what we said, and then we'll just do stuff outside the ring until we feel like we want to go back in. And so the first thing we did was he sat me on the chair, and then he was like, all right, you kids, you are, like, he looked pointing at these kids like, oh, hit him, right? to these two little kids. And so they hit me, right? And then I'm like, and then I'm selling it for the kids. They're like, woohoo, we're hitting the bad guy. And then I'm like, oh, they really liked it. And then I see another set of kids, and I'm like, oh, I should go sit over there next. So I take the hits from those little kids, and then I sell it all the way to a chair next to some other set of kids. They hit me, and then goes to another set of kids that I think is from the footage, where it was like a 1-2. Someone chopped me and then like slapped me in the face.
That second hit was pretty good. Like,
that kid got me. He was so happy.
Wow.
And then that second outside spot where I was brawling in front of you guys, right? That was ridiculous because there was a jug of water. There's a jug of water like on the floor, and I saw Camacho kind of reaching for it, like touching it, like, hey, hit me with this, and I was like, okay, I think he wants me to hit him with this. And then so I grab it and I do something dumb. I uncap it, and then I take a swig of what I think is water, right? I'm just like, oh, cool, let me just get this, right? And I taste it, I'm like, wait, what is this? What is this? Is this alcohol? I think for some reason in my head, I'm like,
we were a little shocked that you drank it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 2021. What are you doing?
We're in a pandemic.
Exactly. I'm just drinking some random person's jug, but in the moment, like improv, you're just kind of in the heat.
Yeah, you just gotta do it. Yeah.
And I drink it. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? And then I hit Camacho like over the head with it, splashes everywhere. I was so worried. I was worried. And then I come to find out that jug of water belonged to one of the wrestlers' kids. He's actually an amateur wrestler himself, and that water, he was like, oh, you drank my water. It was like this, it had like vinegar and olive oil in it, and it's like helps it to clean out your system. I was like, oh, thank goodness, that's all that was.
At least it was that.
It was consumable. It was actually healthy for me.
It just happened to splatter everywhere amongst the crowd.
Exactly. It smelled weird too. So, but
You
yeah.
know, you talked about, you alluded to, you know, having to improv during your match and things. You know, a lot of people, a lot of ignorant people will say, you know, oh, this is fake or whatever. But like, you know, I mean, if you really watch wrestling, you know that there's a lot of contact. So, you know, talk about how much is too much. Like, you know, someone like, obviously someone's going to hit you. You hear the flesh on the flesh, you know, a lot of times. What, like, how hard do you hit someone? Do you talk about it beforehand? Do you know, you know, because it's indie wrestling, so it's not like you can watch someone's WWE or AEW tape and say, oh, this guy can really take a hit. Like, so how do you know that, okay, I can really hit Manny Mars hard, or oh, I kind of just need to, you know, like how do you feel that in the ring?
So that's like a whole thing too, because yeah, you don't know how hard someone really hits until you're in the ring with them. Like you'll hear things, and like sometimes I'll be like, you know, I'll it's like whatever. Like at this point, you know, I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll take it, because I was taught like, okay, hit me as hard as you want, but just hit me safely. You know, because in wrestling there are like pockets you can hit somebody, right? Like someone can hit me like right here. They can hit me really hard. It won't hurt, but it makes a great sound. You know, someone could like just like kind of jab their forearm kind of like right here. There's ways to like protect yourself, like, you know, the last second you're kind of like blocking a shot or whatever it is. But man, yeah, as hard as some people, like when they do like the chops and stuff, like the Ric Flair chops, some people really like to lay it in. And you know, you can't really fake that part. You know, you'll see like there's literally like red spots. I'll have red hand marks like after every show or whatever. But it's really just like it's weird. It's like part of the job, and then you just kind of like after training and debuting, you just kind of like accept like, okay, this is gonna hurt, but there's so much adrenaline like pumping like during the match itself, right? Like there's times where I've hurt myself and I didn't realize it until like a couple days or like a day after the show, because like on that day I'm like, I get so much adrenaline pumping, I'm like, you know, and then the next day I'm like, whoa, why is my finger like really hurt, you know, like, hey, where did I jam that, you know? And that happens all. It's like, how did I hurt that thing again, you know? And then it's just, yeah, you don't really feel that much in the ring. There's been only like a few times where, you know, I'm in character, someone hits me and they hit me so freaking hard, I'm just like, wow, that really hurt. Like I like audibly like almost like say that, like, dang, that guy hit really hard. But a lot of folks will tell you like ahead of time. Some people are really nice about it. They're like, hey, so I chop pretty hard. Are you okay with that? You know, I just want to make sure, because the name of the game is making it look real, you know, convincing the fans like, oh, he really got hit, you know, so what's the best way to do that? Just really hit him, you know. And you know, I've slapped people like as hard as I can in the face, you know, and I've told them ahead of time, like, hey, I'm gonna slap you in the face. Are you cool with that? Like, yeah, just hit me. And they'll say, yeah, hit me as hard as you can, you know, like make it look real. And I'm like, cool, you know. And I enjoy working with people like that, you know. And for me, when the way people hit me in the ring, I like to give it back. So if you are a little softer in the ring, I'll be a little softer. If you hit a little harder, I'll match it as best I can, you know. But yeah, usually you know, and of course, if someone has an injury, they'll tell you ahead of time, like, hey, so my back's a little messed up, so I'm not trying to take too many bumps on my back. And like, okay, we can work around that, and you just work around it, you know, and the fans won't know.
So I guess as we're progressing through this wrestling thing, I mean, what are your goals right now? I mean, are you planning? As they say in wrestling, nothing, you know, everything's planned, but I mean, are there plans for maybe more belts in the future, more championships for Mr. Manny Mars?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, of course, I'd have like 4 belts. a dozen belts. Yes, I'll
I see one in the
Get
future.
ready, buddy.
I see one in the future right
Steel
there.
Tsinelas match is waiting for
Steel
you, buddy.
Tinikling Inferno match.
Yes,
Let the
Tinikling Inferno
Tinikling-
match is waiting.
That's
Light
right.
them on fire. Just, but what is it? I really, I always say my goal is I want to just live off wrestling, right?
Right.
It doesn't have to be, I don't have to be in WWE. I don't have to be in AEW. It doesn't matter to me where I end up, but as long as I can say, hey, I paid my bills wrestling, you know? So that means like, you know, make sure I have merch, making sure I have like, you know, really great bookings and just knowing how to like really use myself. So it's like, I'm not working, you know,
Right.
a 9 to 5, you know, it's like at daytime I do during the day I'm a fraud analyst, and then on the weekend I'm a wrestler. But you know, it would be really cool to be like, yeah, from Monday to Sunday I'm a wrestler, you know.
Right.
So that's
You know,
really the main goal.
You know, you brought up a great point to Rex's question, is that, you know, in many ways you've drawn a perfect parallel that, you know, wrestling is an art form. And in many ways you are kind of an indie artist. You're like an indie filmmaker. You're somebody who, you know, you have a day job like a lot of indie filmmakers do, a lot of actors do, and you're trying to get your craft to a point that maybe you can dump that 9 to 5 job. Maybe you can dump that boring gig you're doing, so that you
The Monday through Friday
art.
gig. Yeah.
So that this art that you're doing is something that you can continue to do and really, you know, thrive off it financially. So that's a great point, a great parallel to what you're doing. You know, Rise and Shine always spotlights, you know, filmmakers, but we filmmake artists. You know, we spotlight artists, and you know, I think that's something that a lot of people don't see. You know, I mean, obviously a lot of people think that, you know, a wrestler can be like an actor, but there is a lot of art to what you do, the art of wrestling, but also just how you approach the career.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. It's tough because like a lot of folks who really don't know anything about wrestling, you know, they compare it to UFC, they compare it to boxing, they compare it to competitive sports, but wrestling, it's not a competitive sport at all. Like this is closer to theater than it is to like
Exactly.
UFC, you know, because we're choreographing, you know, we get dressed up, we have entrances, we're whole characters, and that's like the beauty of wrestling. And one of my favorite things about wrestling that really got me into it, like when I was working that boring job, was, well, I could literally turn myself into anything I want with wrestling, right? It's I am in charge of my own character, and I can become anything I want, you know. So I can be like, you know, like I can be Bruno Mars if I wanted to be in wrestling, you know, which that's almost my character.
We're here today with the champ, the Manny 3 belt, Manny Mars. It's Rex, it's Ed. We've got 13 things coming up. Maybe one more question before we get to 13 things. I have a quick, you know, I'm reading your bio here, and you talk about how you're you bill yourself as a technically good wrestler. And, you know, I wanted to talk about when you go to indie shows, a lot of people like to go and they watch, you know, the technical wrestling. They like to watch the holds, they like to watch the movement, the high flyers and things like that. A lot of times, you know, when you get to WWE, for example, maybe AEW too, a lot of these bigger guys are bigger, or, you know, they're the big names. You know, when I go to an indie show like Comptonmania, you know, you watch workers, you watch people put on really good matches. And I'm going to be biased here for a minute. I think Roman Reigns is trash. I don't think he can wrestle. How do guys like, you know, you look at people like Hulk Hogan, you look at people like Roman Reigns, they don't really, like, you know, they understand crowd psychology, they understand how to make a match look good in like a TV setting, but like, how is it working with like the bigger guys who don't necessarily get the reputation for being good workers in an indie wrestling show like at a Comptonmania? How does that work? How do you like working with those guys, and how is their trek different to make it to the bigger leagues?
Right. It's funny because I kind of like, almost like bill myself as like a technical wrestler, right? Like a I don't even say like names like I'm definitely no Daniel Bryant or someone like amazing like that, or but I like to do holds, I like to do submissions and things like that. That's why I call myself like a technical wrestler. But as far as like kind of the bigger workers go, and I wouldn't say like they're bad workers. They're not bad workers. They just have a different style. And like if I was, and I'll put it this way, if I was 7 foot tall, and and everyone just looked at me like, wow, you're kind of like the specimen, right? Like if I was 7 foot tall, I wouldn't have to be flashy. I wouldn't have to do like a crazy amount of moves. All I would have to do is just grab someone and throw them across the ring, and because that's all you need. In wrestling, we like to say you have a bump card, and a bump card is how many times can you fall on that mat before it's like too much and you have to retire. And with like a high flying style or a technical style, your window for wrestling just becomes a little bit smaller because you're constantly having to take the harder hits, to throw your body across the ring constantly. But if you're a bigger person, you could just do that. You could just do this, throw someone across the ring, or you could be Hulk Hogan and you could just drop your leg, or you could be the Big Show and just throw one punch and the crowd can go crazy.
And is there like I mean, I hate to ask it like this, but like, is there a resentment backstage? Like does someone like a Daniel Bryan in an indie thing, well, I have to work really hard to put on a good match, but this guy doesn't have to do anything. He just has to stand there and like how is that relationship like, backstage?
Right. Oh yeah, no, everyone gets along and everyone gets it, right? Like and wrestling is also kind of like a variety show, like the first match can be two technical wrestlers just kind of like, and this is for the people who are really, really big into wrestling, big indie fans, and they like to see like that type of wrestling. And then you can have casual fans come in and then they just see big two behemoths like just colliding, and then that becomes another genre of wrestling. And then you could have a match that's just comedy where there's a guy on AEW named Orange Cassidy, and literally his gimmick is that he's lazy and he doesn't do a lot in the ring, and that's an awesome gimmick. And like
sorry,
yeah, I know.
Had to get that in there.
No, I know you do. No, but yeah, so it's for me, like personally, the best wrestling shows have a little bit of everything. They have comedy, they have like the big behemoths like wrestling, they have technical wrestling, they have great tag team wrestling. They have to have like a little bit of everything for it to work, I think. And I think we all know like, okay, this is our spot in the card. We're here to do that. We're here to do that job. You know what I mean? Like I was like semi-maining. I was like the semi-main event for Comptonmania, right? And the match that I had there is not the same match I would have if I was the first match on the card, because I don't want to take away. I don't want to take away from the main event, and I want to save myself. If it's not necessary for me to hurt myself so much.
I feel like I feel like we've only been talking for like 5 minutes, but at the same time, I feel like we've also discussed a lot. Obviously, as Roni pointed out before, I'm a big wrestling fan. I know that Rex enjoys talking about wrestling. We've had so many discussions about, just because we're all friends and we go to dinner sometimes or coffee or whatnot. So I feel like we could continue this interview for like another 3 hours and it wouldn't feel like anything. But of course, we know that I don't know if people on YouTube would want to do that. I know that the media expert that Roni hired is probably upset that we've surpassed the 4-second interview. So maybe, Rex, we should kind of draw this to a close, but maybe we could just preface or just say that, Manny Mars, anytime you want to come back and talk about wrestling, we are totally down for that. Bring bring some wrestling pals with you. We did want to say that Rancho Camacho is a great worker. Shout out to him. You can't put on a good match unless you have a good dance partner.
That's true.
You had a great dance partner for that title match. So congrats
Very
to
true.
you. And I don't know, Rex, I think we should bring him back again because I feel like we could just keep talking for hours.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. So we're gonna round this out right now, and when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna come back to 13 Things with Manny Mars.
Hey, did you know that you can make a tax-deductible donation to us? Check it out. Rise and Shine is produced by FilAm Creative, and we're an official registered nonprofit organization. So if you like programming like Rise and Shine, why don't you Venmo us a couple of bucks, some quid, and we'd really appreciate it. So you can Venmo us at FilAm Creative. That's at FilAm Creative. And hey, thanks for watching Rise and Shine.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking with 3-belt Manny Mars, wrestler pro extraordinaire. And ladies and gentlemen, your favorite segment in the show, as my co-host, Mr. Ed, has the 4th belt that Mr. Manny Mars is going to try to go for. Steel Tsinelas. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to call this the Steel Tsinelas match. But our favorite segment of the show, 13 Things, where we ask Manny Mars the probing 13 things questions. So
Yes.
please introduce yourself and what you do.
I am the Pinoy Prince, Manny Mars, and I am the MFM, the Mother Effin' Man, Comptonmania champion, as well as the Central Valley champion and the Wild Card champion.
How can we even continue, Rex, like that?
We can't compete with that, man.
Love it.
We can't compete
I
with
love
that.
it. I'm just, you know what, dude? I'm just gonna give you the belt.
I'll take it here. I'll just take
You
it
don't
from.
even have to put on the Steel Tsinelas. You can have the belt. Anyway, all right, brother. Well, let's go ahead and get started. So let's start Act 1 by getting to know you a little bit. Manny Mars, you are a professional wrestler. Can you name your 4 favorite professional wrestlers?
Stone Cold Steve Austin, Jeff Hardy, CM Punk, Kurt Angle.
Awesome. If you were not a wrestler, what would you want to do instead?
Gosh, man, I would just wrestling, but you know what? I would probably want to get into it'd be like a nutritionist, something like that. Yeah.
Then don't eat with Rex and me, because that's a bad idea. Anyway, if you could run a nonprofit, what type of a cause would your nonprofit benefit?
Oh, well, actually, it would be Filipinos in entertainment. That would be my cause. I think it's very important for us to be out there in the media. So,
gosh, you should meet the executive director of FilAm Creative.
I know.
Yeah,
I
hear she's wonderful. I hear she's
pretty cool.
She's fabulous.
I don't know if we'll ever get along. So,
what is something peculiar that not a lot of people know about Manny Mars?
I am really into sneakers and thrifting and like reselling and flipping shoes and video games.
Okay. What is the most beautiful place that you have ever seen?
Oh man. I'd say I was in the Bahamas like when I was like a teenager. That was awesome. I went on a cruise. I remember we stopped by Nassau. That's cool. There's like a nude beach, and I'm not saying that because that was like the most beautiful part, but it was just like in general, it was just a great place to be.
I love these answers. What's your favorite place? What's your favorite place in the Philippines?
My favorite place in the Philippines?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the Philippines.
Where would you like to go?
Where would you like to go?
Like to see? Yeah.
I know it's all like so like cliche. I want to see Boracay. You know, I know that's like a popular destination spot, so I want to ease myself into it. You know,
it is beautiful there. Okay, well, I'm going to give you some locations. You tell us what your favorite thing to do is in these locations. All right.
Okay.
Let's start with outdoors.
Outdoors. I have a coffee outdoors.
Okay. In your living room.
Play video games.
Okay. In a wrestling ring. What's your favorite move to do in a wrestling ring?
My favorite move to do is my finishing move called the Manila Sunrise. It is a submission move.
Love it.
Yes.
On a vacation.
On a vacation, man, I like to relax. I'm very low key. I just like to relax, hang out, buy a view, have some food, you know.
Online.
Online, I like to look at shoes. I like looking at shoes.
And in the bedroom.
In the bedroom.
Family show.
Oh yeah, no, don't worry. I play Hearthstone. It's a little mobile video game that I play, and I play that in the bedroom, and that's how I fall asleep.
Very cool.
I'm turning this over to Rex.
Very, very cool. Okay. All right, man. Let's get a little more serious here. I mean, these are the serious, hard-hitting questions everybody needs to know. Okay. Now tell us, Manny, your favorite foods or your types of foods that you got to have. List 4 of them.
I like, quesadillas, longanisa, grilled cheese. It's like quesadilla and grilled cheese, same thing. And let's see, and this coffee count. I'm huge into coffee.
I'm feeling the coffee vibe here.
Coffee. It's
Yes.
coffee, a lot of coffee.
Yes.
What's your favorite coffee since we're on that?
Oh man, I just like really any latte. Oh, there's really there's an awesome like this horchata latte at this place called Offset.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. Yes.
Okay, Manny, tell us, family recipes. What family recipe of yours is better than mine?
Oh, probably my mom's chicken adobo. It's like the best, but the best in the world.
Oh man. Okay, here we go. You can only have one. Pick one: corned beef, Spam, or Vienna sausage.
I'm gonna go corned beef.
Okay. Let's eat balut. Yes or no?
Yes.
Favorite Filipino dessert?
Leche flan.
Okay. Favorite non-Filipino dessert? You could say coffee.
I just had this. The Oreo ice cream cake from Cold Stone.
Okay. Favorite boba drink?
Anything with brown sugar.
Okay. Your favorite chocolate?
So many.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot. Ferrero Rocher.
Okay. Favorite fruit?
Mangoes.
Okay. Favorite alcoholic beverage?
Jack Daniels.
Okay. All right, let's get personal now. Recommend to our audience one Filipino or FilAm book, movie, or TV show. Just one.
Book, movie,
or TV show.
Or TV show.
Just one.
Gosh. I'm gonna have to go with the original Lumpia.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a classic, man.
Hey,
that's a cult classic.
It's in my city.
It's a cult classic. Took them 10 years to make.
Oh, wait. Colma the musical. There you go.
Yes.
I have that DVD.
Yes, I have the DVD too. I have the
Good
DVD.
one. Good call.
Very nice.
Shout out to them.
Okay, let's play Mahjong. How good are you?
Not good at all.
Okay.
No, can't play.
Have you ever been stood up on a date?
Yes. I
Okay.
have.
Let's reverse it. Have you ever dumped someone? Yes or no? You don't have
Okay,
to give-
yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, last thing, look directly into the camera and say one sentence to your haters or your criticizers.
Ooh, Pinoy Prince Manny Mars gets to
Channel Manny Mars into
address
this.
his
Yes.
haters.
Yes.
The thing about haters is that they come in all shapes and forms. And I just feel sorry for them because they are clearly leading a pathetic life and they can only dream to be the Pinoy Prince and experience all that I have experienced.
Yes.
That's-
Yes.
That's the best one yet out of all how many
Yes.
episodes we've done. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna close this here. Last question. You, Manny Mars, get to be the guest host for the best show on the planet, Rise and Shine with FilAm Creative. You get to pick a guest. Who would you want to interview, Filipino or Asian, dead or alive, and why?
Who would I want to interview? I would want to interview. Oh God. It's funny. I'm only thinking one name. I'm thinking Dante Basco. Honestly, my first
Bad call.
Hey.
my first FilAm person I saw on the big screen.
Mhm.
I'm like, I need to know. Yeah.
Nice
like it.
choice. Very nice.
All right. Well, we want to thank our good friend Manny Mars for this edition of 13 Things. You can catch 13 Things every Tuesday right here on Rise and Shine.
Oh, hey, I know what you're doing. You're sitting there liking what we're doing over here. So do me a favor, hit that like button, add a comment. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you feel. What are you waiting for? Do it now.
All right. It has been a pleasure for me as Ed One Belt.
Yes.
And my friend Rex No Belt to interview the fantastic Manny Three Belt, Manny Mars. Manny Mars, please come back any Manny time.
Yes.
Want to have some Manny time with us.
Many times.
Manny Mars, before you go though, please, where can we find you online and where are you wrestling next?
You can find the Pinoy Prince on IG. It's Prince Manny Mars. Twitter should also be Prince Manny Mars. Facebook, I have a Facebook page. Just search Manny Mars. Should be all there. YouTube, Manny Mars Wrestling. It's all on there as well. Upcoming shows. I have a show on December 18th in Stanton. You can follow my social medias and just check my stories. I'll be plugging it probably around this time now. You should see plenty from me. So
Fantastic. And if you are a wrestling fan, please, when you go there, buy the merch, support those guys because they put on great shows. I want to give a shout out one more time to our friends at Comptonmania. Thank you for letting us cover this fantastic wrestler. And might I say to the booker, you picked a good champion. So, thank you to our good friend Manny Mars. And if you like this episode today, which I know you did, we probably have some new viewers who were following Manny Mars and independent wrestling. If you like this show, please, we're at FilAm Creative. Donate a few bucks to our Venmo. We would really appreciate it so we can continue to have great programming like this. So we're going to put a bow on this one on behalf of my good friend Rex, our good friend Roni. Thank you so much for watching this fantastic episode of
Oh my goodness. Again, we were there.
How dare you, Rex and Ed? How dare you? Do you know who this person you have on your show right now is? Do you know this?
Not you.
This man is obsessed with my sister for some reason. He's always
Then bring your sister back out.
at my apartment. He's always here. Like, why? Why are you so obsessed with her?
Roni,
And not only that, it's like he lives here. It's like he pays rent or something. Like, I don't pay rent, and technically he pays rent. But like, it's like he says he lives here. He keeps saying he lives here.
Roni,
So-
please come. Where is Roni?
Where's she?
I
Where's
locked
she?
her. I locked her in the bathroom because I have a bone to pick once and for all with this man. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Hey,
Oh,
Manny
man.
Mars. You see this box of wine? This is my box of wine. I saw you in the fridge drinking some of my wine. You can't have this wine. This is my
Manny,
wine.
drink it,
Don't touch
drink
this
it,
wine.
Manny. Drink it, Manny.
Drink it
Manny
all, man.
Mars.
Drink it all.
You see this hot sauce? This is my hot sauce. Next time you locate these too bland. Oh, I think I want hot sauce. Oh, quiero más fuego. Nope, can't have any hot sauce. I don't want to see you
Oh my goodness.
drinking my hot sauce.
Oh.
And you know what? Manny Mars? You see this first aid kit? This is my first aid kit. I don't want to see you bleeding, getting a splinter, having a headache, needing a suture. I want to watch you
How do you
bleed
deal with
out.
this, Manny
I
Mars?
don't
So
know how
you
put
can't
up with this.
have anything in my first aid kit.
I bought all those things.
So while he leaves, I'm going to unlock my sister from the bathroom and I'm going to collect my money. Here we go. Rise and Shine credits. Rise and Shine with FilAm Creative was created, casted, hosted, produced. Wow, there's a lot of these. Written, directed, conceptualized, put together, and glued together with spit and hope by Edward J. Malillan and Rexley Sampaga. They cool, kind of. Our Rise and Shine co-hosts are my sister Roni, who
Gosh.
is
You recognize her this week.
yeah, she'll be
She
out
said
soon.
her name
I gotta
at least.
I gotta
See
take
the
the
holidays.
I gotta take the chair out of the door, so
It is Thanksgiving.
she'll come back out, and of course me, I'm the most fabulous one of here, and the only relevant version on the show. So, if you are so inclined to get me more hot sauce, please make a donation to FilAm Creative through their Venmo. Because some dude who keeps leaping over at my house keeps taking my hot sauce.
Keep doing it, Manny.
Yeah, just do it.
I
Yeah,
didn't even get
just-
to have any of it.
I will watch you
No.
bleed, Manny.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, call
No
out
check,
this.
no check,
Guys.
no check. Don't pay her this week, man.